Hello, citizen of the world. Welcome back to another video. With this video, you are one step closer to become a front-end expert, and we will be talking about advanced JavaScript concepts here. Let's roll the intro. Advanced JavaScript concepts. We will be taking cookies, sessions, storages, and local storages. Let's start with the differences. They are stored, session storage and local storage, for example, only in the browser, but cookies are stored in browser and they are sent to the server with each request. The capacity of cookies usually around 4 kilobyte per cookie, and for session and local storage, it's about 5 to 10 megabit per origin. Lifetime for cookies can be set to a specific expiry date. If you don't set expiry date, it's gonna be end as soon as the browser is closed. For the session storage, it's pretty much the same, but instead of closing the whole browser, if you close the, for example, you have a tab, let's say, if you close the tab, then for that specific tab, that session is going to be removed, but it's not the same for cookies. You need to close whole browser for cookies to be removed, but for session, it's enough for you to close the tab. But local storage, totally up to developer. It can be programmatically deleted or by hand. Accessibility, both client and server can access the cookies. For session and local storage, client side only. Use cases for cookies, session management, user preferences, tracking, etc. For session management, temporary storage, since it's temporarily saves the data for you. Local storage, persist storage of user preferences, caching offline data, etc. It depends how you would like to use it. Security, vulnerable to cross-site scripting. This is valid for other two as well. And cross-site request forgery for cookies. Data transfer sent with every HTTP request for cookies. It's not sent to server for session and local storage. The API, the usage is to access cookies, you need to do document.cookie, but for session and local storage, you can access directly with these keywords them. You don't need to do document dot to access these two. And we already mentioned about the expiration, and yeah, let's get into coding. So I have my files opened up here. I have an index.html file and index.js, and I started my server and open up this developer console. You have an application tab here. If under that application tab you have cookies, session storage, and local storage. Let's do an example with cookies first. So as we saw in the slide, you need to do document.cookie in order to access the cookies, and you need to give a name first. Basically, you have name value pairs here, and let's say we would like to store username, and my username is Sefa İlyas Oz, let's say. And if I save this, you can see it assigned the first section before the equal sign as a name, and the second section, which is after the equal sign, as a value. And since I didn't specify any expiry date here, expires value as a session, which is gonna be something like this. Let me show you. So I'm gonna close this whole window. I'm gonna open a new one, and if I do 17127 and open up the console again and see application, obviously it still runs this and saves the value again. So I'm gonna just comment this for a second. I'm gonna need to close that again. So now, as you can see, our value is completely removed, but if I uncomment and save again, it's gonna save the data for me once more. And if you wanna specify an expiry date, you need to use UTC formatting for that. So let's say expires. I would like to do it like this. I'm gonna use backticks, so it's gonna be easier for me. And I'm gonna show you one important point here. Expires equals expires dot get UTC, sorry, to UTC string. So if I save, so as you can see, it thought that this whole thing after equal sign is a one value, which is actually not. So in order to avoid this, as you can see, expires inside this value section here, and our expires column is still in session value. To avoid this, you need to put some columns here so it can understand that I removed value from here, and I'm gonna save this again. And as you can see, also I decided to change the const variable to a directly new date. Here we have our values alias O's, and we have expires, which is or max age also called. Have it here. So what is path? If you are thinking, path is, for example, let's say you have two sides of your application, and let's say you have an admin dashboard, and you are accessing that admin dashboard by writing /admin. And if you want to set a cookie specific for admin route, you can give path equals /admin, and it's gonna save it as it is. Currently we don't have that path, so it's not gonna be working for us correctly. But once you are building something with React or any other front-end framework or library, you can try that and see how it works. So let's try to store something a bit more complex, like not just username, but a whole user information. And let's say we have a const user object which has field of username. It's gonna be this, and age is going to be this, and city, let's say, going to be Istanbul. And if I try to pass user as it is and change this username to user, since we are storing a user data, not just a username, if I try to do that and save, as you can see, this value is stored as an object, which is not like an ideal. What you need to do here is stringify this so it can be stored efficiently, and this is a better practice to follow. If I do that, then as you can see, our object is stringified by JavaScript and it is saved as a string. Yes, and you can do here something like the 01/01/2025 if I save, and the expiry date is going to be changed to 2025 and first day of the year. You can set an expire date like this as well. To get a cookie value from the browser, there's a function like commonly used. It has a straightforward logic to it, so I'm just gonna copy and paste this here. And let's say we have a cookie function here. We are expecting a parameter cookie name here, the one we would like to access here in the stored ones, and we are assigning, like attaching an equal sign to it, and then we are decoding the cookie string here to handle cookies with special characters, and then we are splitting that with semicolons into an array called CA here. We are looping through the CA array and read out each value in this section. If the cookie is found here, we are returning the value of cookie, and if there is no cookie found, we are returning an empty string here. So let's try this out. Let's say get cookie const result, or my cookie, let's say get cookie. Let's try to get user, and if I do a log here and save, if I check my console, it gave me the stringified version of the value I stored. You can try to do json.parse, and you can get this value as an object, and then you can try to access the values as, for example, const parsed maybe equals this, and do lock username parse dot username. If I save, and I can access the username directly here. Yes, this is pretty much the way to handle this. To remove a cookie value without closing the browser, what you can do here, I can say document.cookie equals let's say I would like to remove username. Username equals nothing and expires equals, let's say, a big -9 number. If I save this, it's gonna be removed as soon as the browser is closed. Previously it had an expiration date, but now it doesn't. So it's gonna be removed as soon as the browser is closed. And the value is removed from the username section here, as you can see. Let's move on with local storage and session storage. First, I would like to mention about local storage. So I'm gonna come here. As you can see, I don't have anything saved here. For local storage, you can directly do local storage dot set item. If you like to save something, you need to first give a key and then a value, because local storage saves the things you would like to save in a key value pairs. So maybe again, let's say first username. I would like to store Sapphire. So, and if I save, as you can see, it's still here. If I delete this line and save, it's gonna be still here. It doesn't matter if I refresh or close and reopen the tab, it's gonna be still there. To remove this, you need to do remove item and only give the key section. And if I save, as you can see, the value is disappeared here. It's gonna be removed. To access an item, you probably guessed it. You need to do const, let's say, value, right? Local storage dot get item, and you need to give the key value that you would like to access. If I do log value and save, here I saved this, and here I got the value and console logged it here, as you can see. If you want to store something a bit more complex, again, you need to do stringify. Let's say we have it again, an user object with username in it and age value in it. And if I want to save this, I need to do json.stringify user. If I save, since I use the same key to set an item to a value, it overwrote it, and we have a new value here instead of just Sapphire. So as previously we had, and now I can access this in the cookie that we did previously a few minutes ago. You can do json.parse, give this, and you can access the object directly like this by doing parsing. Again, if I try to access age value here, I can do that by doing value.age. The same thing pretty much works with session storage. They have identical in that matter. Session storage dot set item, you can do again new username or username. Let's continue same way, same values, same variables. If I save, then I need to come to application, session storage, and I can see my value here. If I would like to store an object, still same, I need to do stringify. And if I would like to get an item, session storage, get item, same logic with local storage, it's gonna be username. Maybe what I can do, value 2, let's say, save. If I save, so now my new value in session storage is this stringified value here, and I have my value 2 here, which is this object, and I can access it by value 2.h. Pretty straightforward. This topic is a topic that is kind of hard to explain. It's actually quite simple. Just writing examples and trying to show this actually makes it a bit more difficult for me, at least. But it's straightforward, pretty simple. Hope you guys understood the logic of this. If you still have questions, you can leave a comment down below. After this video, you can expect new series about React, and I'll see you guys in these videos. Thank you. Take care.